Okay, so we're back, and as you see here, this was my draft page of some of the drafts that I did when I was creating these fun little mushrooms. And here is the page that we left off on, right here, and we did the elf. So as you can see, I finished my chocolate covered mushroom, which is the same color palette as the white chocolate coated mushroom, but I chose to use a little bit different red at the top here when I blended it out. And I used 922 in case you're curious. Instead of putting that light in there, that reflection, I put it up a little higher. Anyways, we're going to do the Santa Claus one right now. So we're going to add to this wonderful group of mushrooms that I've created. And if you want to zoom in, you can, and you can take a look at the more polished look that I had done off camera to the elf mushroom. And you can see better on the lines. I darkened them for video purposes because I know sometimes it's hard to see on screen. But if you don't know how to zoom, just, open and pinch and squeeze like you would on a picture to zoom in and out. So let's get started here. And you're going to need the following. Oh, let me back up just 1 second. I have another book review and flip through coming through. It's this nice little surprise I got here. Look at that beautiful packaging. Amazon should take note on how to ship books. This is beautiful. They did such an exquisite job. I was shocked when I got it. It was also wrapped in bubble wrap in a protective box. So impressed. Anyways, we will get to that in a later video, but I just wanted to give you a sneak peek. So here we are with the lovely mushrooms, and I'm going to push this page up because we're going to work on this one. So again, you're going to need a straight edge, whether it's a small craft ruler or whatever you use, a pencil. I recommend some kind of eraser. I like to use the fine point, but then I like my little brush on the end here. You will need a white gel pen of some sort or a white pencil. And I'm using silver today for the buckle on Santa's jumpsuit. A pencil, of course. Like I said, either one will do. And the following colors we will use in perspective. So may or may not use all of them, but these are the colors. So 1030, you got 925. We have 924, 923. We have 122. 926, you have your black, you have your white, you have 1052, your 90% cool gray, which, give me a second here, I'll tell you the number. It is 1067. For some reason that number wasn't popping in my head. And for the little grass down here, you can choose whatever greens you want. I have 911, and I believe that's 913. I don't know if I'm going to use those two colors. It's just two I grabbed. So let's get started. Let me move this off to the side here. Grab my pencil. Put my spectacles on, my new glasses I got here, so I can see. I'm getting old. Okay, as you'll see down here at the bottom, I went ahead, and bumped you, because I seem to always have to bump the camera, or Gretel does. Anyways, I went ahead and outlined my belt and the pants area, so made the V and the little half arch for the boot. Again, you do not have to do this part if you want to opt out from making it look like they're wearing pants. To each their own. It's completely up to you. So I went ahead and put a light layer of my cool gray down. And I did do a light layer of the white in here, which we're gonna come back to because we're gonna use a little bit of gray. I'm going to show you how to do this white effect with colored pencil instead of the gel pen this time around. So you're gonna get both tips on how to apply your gel pen like we did on the elf to make it look more like fur, and then also how to do it with just your pencil and without the use of the white gel pen. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, and the first color, of course, is your darkest red, which we're gonna use 1030, and I do have to tilt this just a little bit, so, because I have to be at an angle sometimes. And we're gonna start right at the bottom, like almost every single one I've done. And we're gonna make that light layer following the edge of that flesh that goes on the underbelly of the mushroom. So I'm just gonna do small circles and a light layer here. I'm gonna come back over this a couple times. Again, I'm using a really toothy paper, so don't get discouraged by what your results are and what my results are. It really depends on the grain of your paper. So you may have to adjust your layering. Don't forget to skip over that area in the center where that white portion is gonna be. That's why I like to outline it first. Otherwise, I will forget and blaze right through it with my red pencil. And again, I'm just gonna do the entire bottom here with that light layer. I think the next two mushrooms that I'm gonna do are gonna be a lot of fun. One is a more earth tone, more lifelike, like a forest mushroom. And I'm working on another one. I don't wanna throw it out there yet. I know I mentioned it, but it's being a pain in my butt. I wanna do it, and because it's being so difficult, it makes me want to even finish it even more. And some of you more advanced colorists will laugh and say, oh my gosh, that's so easy to create that color. It's not necessarily about the color, but about the look. Anyways, I'm just going back over my line here, and I'm paying close attention to where that black line is, making sure I got a nice coat of that deep red over that dark black line, or just right above it, because I want that area to look kind of shaded. And I am going to go around the belt, just that bottom portion, just to put a little shadow in there. It's really a light. I'm not doing, again, I'm not being a pressure monster. Okay, now I'm gonna grab my 925 and I'm gonna go over the 1030 with my 925. And I'm, again, using small circles, and I'm gonna bring that color up just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. And again, you'll notice you'll have to do a couple layers to get that really burnished look. But I'm laying out, as I did before, my base colors. So basically where I want my colors to be and where I want to fade my colors together. This helps me set my, I guess, more of a balance, I guess, when it comes to blending the colors together. And I don't necessarily strive for even lines all the way up, because nothing in life is ever perfect. But it just gives my eyes an idea of when and where to stop and start with the next color. And doing a light layer, it's easy to change it or add more and move those colors around a little bit more than you would if you just went all in. Because when you go all in, you're stuck once you've got that burnished down deep into the grain of the paper. Okay, I'm gonna give this a second little once over here. All right, looking pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to grab 924 and I'm going to grab just the edge of the 925. I'm not bringing it back down over the other colors like we just did with 925. I'm just doing small circles, grabbing the edge of that color and blending it upward. It's going to give you a more seamless line when you mix that edge. And notice I'm leaving that little tiny bit there for my next color to pull up. Even though there's a belt, I'm not gonna go over the belted area. Okay, so I've got a good light layer there. Move over to the other side and do the same thing. Just grabbing that previous color and pulling it up as I blend. Okay, so there you have your first couple colors, just like before. Now I'm gonna grab 923. I do have two of 923 because this one is just about had it. But now I'm gonna get in there right up close to that belt. This tip is not very sharp, but I'm gonna pull in that 924 and blend it up towards the edge of that belt. And I'm just sticking within where I left that gap for this color. Okay, now I'm going to do the same on the other side. Just grabbing the edges of that previous color. All right, now I'm going to go up here up top a little bit and add some more of the 923. Getting around that edge. And just small circles all the way over. Just doing a nice light coat and then a heavier coat towards the edge of that belt. I'm going to add a couple layers here. Again, this base layer is just to let me know where I may or may not want to apply my permanent lines. And we're going to do that on the opposite side here. Bring that up just a little bit. Going along that belt line. And up around the edge. Getting that corner just a little bit. And notice I'm coloring right over those circles. And if I didn't mention it before, I know I've mentioned it in some of my previous videos, I will put the link to this sheet in my description for this coloring chart, and it is from Color with Claire. It is from her Kofi site, where she provides a whole bunch of charts that you can color and fill in and practice. They're great. So I'm just going back over this light layer I did. I'm going to do it one more time on this side. Again, I'm probably going to have to go and do 3 or 4 layers to achieve my look. But some of you, again, depend on your paper. You can maybe accomplish this in 1 or 2. Just depends on the grain of paper you're using. Okay, so I've got that one in there. And my next color, which I forget, I think, yeah, we're going to use 122. And then I'm going to come in here and grab the edge of 923. And I'm going to do small circles, pulling it upward. And I can already tell I'm going to be adding a little more of the 923. So again, this is just, like I said previously, it gives you an idea where you want to put your color lines and your blend lines so that you can adjust to add more if you need to. When you do a really heavy coat right off the bat, it's really hard to make those changes. So I'm just going to go up around the edge here. Again, just barely grabbing that 923 and blending it up. It gives you a gradual change in color, and it's sometimes hard to tell when you're just getting your base layer down. Your colors really start to show up, especially the different tones, once you start getting into your heavier layers. So don't get discouraged early on, is what I always say. Okay, so, excuse me. I'm going to grab my 923 again, and I'm going to add just a little bit more in here. I might have went just a little too light. And not quite wide enough the first time. I wish I would have started this series with a less toothy paper, that's for sure. But I learned a lesson here. Okay. I think that's a little bit better. Definitely better. Okay. So 926 is the next color. And again, grabbing the edge of that previous color and pulling it up. That's all I'm doing here. Just a light layer. Making sure to get around that center edge of that center of the, I guess, the jacket, jumper, Santa suit anyway. Going around that upper edge there. And again, you can use whatever combination of reds that you like. I just happen to have picked these out of my Prismacolor binder. So these are the ones I'm using. Just going to repeat it on this side. Okay, so we have our base layer down here. Now, just like before, I'm going to jump down to the bottom here, and I'm gonna do my base outline for my pants. So with my darkest red, I'm gonna follow the edge, and I think I'm gonna do these pants a little bit different than last time, just to change it up a little. I'm just kind of outlining here. It's where my boot's gonna be. So if you could see that. And I'm gonna come over here. I'm just following the contour a little bit. And because that little mushroom is kind of overhanging, I'm gonna bring out that darker color just a little bit. And right up underneath the grass. Okay. So now I'm gonna kind of bring this color up a little bit. Like I said, we're gonna do it just a little bit different, but you can follow the same pattern as we did on the mushroom if you like. It's completely up to you. I just wanted to do something just a little bit different. I'm gonna get in here. Okay. Gretel is asleep right now, so that's why it's so peaceful. And I said her name, she might wake up. It's like the red flag. All right, now I'm grabbing my 924 and I'm just gonna go over the 1030 really lightly in small circles, blending that color. Especially down around the areas where you want to apply some shading. And remember, these are just for fun, so even if you make a mistake, you could print multiple copies of these out, create your own, and you can even start over. So don't be worried that you're gonna make a mistake. That's half the fun. Okay, so looks like I got a good layer. Now I'm gonna grab my 924 and I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm just grabbing the edge as previous. And I'm pulling that upward, paying attention to the edge of the mushroom stalk here. Going up. Point's a little sharp there. I'm gonna blend that in small circles. I'm gonna blend that upward. Okay, now I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna go around the skirt here, just real lightly. And this is with my 924. Just really light. Okay, now I'm gonna grab 923. I like my longer pencil here. And again, I'm just doing that light layer, grabbing the previous color and doing small circles. I'm not doing any trickery or nothing. Your colors will blend no matter how hard you press. And I'm going to go for 122. I'm skipping the 926 on the pants. And I'm gonna do that center bit, but I'm gonna do it a little bit heavier because I want to make sure that I don't blend that out too much. Because I'm gonna add a little bit in the end. I'm going to come down with my brighter color, which is again the 122, right towards the center line, almost like a V. Okay. And repeat that process up here with your darker red first, your 1030. And I'm just going to do the same as the elf on this portion, starting from the edges and working my way in. Giving that nice deep red along the border here. And my 925. And I know sometimes it's hard to work in small areas. Just do the best that you can. Okay, 924. $9.23. And the 122. And the 926 right down the center. Okay. So you've got your whole base laid out. Now the fun starts, where you start adding your layers, and you go from a light pressure to a medium pressure, and then your final coat should be medium to heavy pressure. So since I went over this technique in the elf mushroom, we'll go ahead and add the boot and the belt now. So I'm going to go ahead and take my black pencil, and I'm just making an arch. And again, you can use your dark gray if you really want to make a darker boot. And you can even use silver boots. You can do whatever you want. Give them green boots. It's all about what you like. I'm just keeping traditional and going with black. I know it doesn't really look like a boot, but it's supposed to look like the tip of your shoe. I think it's okay. It's definitely not perfect, but notice I left that little white part there. You can bring in your white pencil and just fill that little dash in there. Kind of gives it a little highlight like it's a shiny boot. Now I'm gonna, since I have my white pencil out, I'm gonna clean the tip off here. Make sure there's no black in there. Never fails. I'm gonna go up top here. And with the medium pressure, I'm gonna go in and fill in this center sash area without going over my buckle. Don't forget about your buckle. I'm just putting a nice coat down there. Now I'm gonna grab my 1052, and don't worry, we're gonna come back to the mushroom. And with my gray, really lightly, I mean baby light, I'm gonna do some small little areas of gray in here. And you can kind of feather in like in an upward motion, kind of like this. If you could see that. So kind of put and go in different directions with your gray. So I'm just gonna put some here. There's a method for this in the end. Okay, so I've got the basics down for everything except for the two fleshy parts of the mushroom. So like always, I'm gonna leave that till the end, but I am gonna now fill in the black belted area. So I'm going to grab my 90% cool gray, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in this belted area before I put my next layer of red down for my mushroom, because it really defines the line there. And you can see I'm just kind of crisping up that line where that red is. I'm not too worried about it being perfectly straight. But what this gray does when you use it as an undercoating is it makes your black a lot darker and easier to fill in that area with the black pencil. And of course, you can use whatever color you want for Santa's belt. I just, again, matching the boots. Keep them with tradition. Okay, I'm gonna do the other side the same way, going along that red edge. And along the belt buckle there. And again, you can see I'm working with a sharp tip, so you know I'm not pressing very hard. I'm doing the circular motion for the most part. Just getting a nice coating on there. I'll move my hand here in just a second because I'm sure I'm in your way. All right, there you go. So that's just my base color. Now I'm gonna grab my black pencil and I'm gonna go over that, giving it a deeper, richer appearance. And you'll see how much easier it is to fill that black in now that you've had that dark gray as your base. And again, small circles because it blends those colors better. And if you're like me and using a toothy paper, you may have to, in the very end, go back over it one more time when you burnish the paper. Just going along my edge here. Seems I always have to go over it just one more time. Or I've missed a spot. Or I get little peek-throughs of the white. That drives me crazy. I'll see little peek-throughs of that white paper and I'm like, ah! It's like a mission to get rid of it. Okay, and I'm just doing the other side just the same. Getting around the edge of that belt buckle there. And we'll finish the white part in the end, like I said before, because we're using red, that'll show up on white. So having that base color of white laid down, it's easier to erase if you need to and then reapply your white and your gray than it is if you put your white down on a heavy coat and then try to erase the red off of that, especially when you're just using pencil. Okay, I'm definitely gonna have to come in and do another coat there. So now we're gonna start all over from the very beginning with 1030 and start on the upper portion of the mushroom. And this is where you should really start seeing some the blendings and the changes in the colors and the tones that I'm using. So right at the base with the 1030, and I'm using a light to medium, medium to, not even medium to heavy, just a more light to medium pressure. I'm going along that line. For the most part, this should be your darkest red, but the 925 gives it more of a red appearance than that brownish purple color. So that's why for the double layer. Just gonna get around here, around that center part, and just repeat the process on your other side. So it's like muscle memory. When you do certain things a number of times, it just will come back to you naturally. You'll just start remembering. And I know these are pretty simple. I tried to keep these simple blends and simple techniques so that everybody, no matter your skill level, can have fun doing these, or even creating your own. Okay. 924 is the next color. And I know some of you asked me why I didn't do a rainbow mushroom. Well, a lot of people have already done rainbow mushrooms, and I would feel kind of like I was copycatting or repeating them, even though I could do it differently. It's been done a few hundred times. So those are out there. You just have to search for them if you were curious on how to do a rainbow mushroom. So 925, I'm just repeating over it for the most part, getting that thicker layer, but I am pulling it up just a little bit. But as I pull up, I'm going lighter because I want to be able to grab that when I lay down 924. I want to blend that color. I don't want a sharp line there. My ears are popping. Perfect. Okay, looks like a good coat there. I'm going to grab 924, just like before, and I'm going right off the edge of 925. And I'm just pulling it up just a little bit. Don't forget we have 923, that little sliver to add in there. Which you don't have to. You can just do all 924 and then do 923 on the top. But I like to have that little bright spot under the belt. So making sure to get around that part that you're going to do with white pencil. And I'm just blending the two together. I'm not bringing my color all the way down over the 925. And you're going to repeat that on the other side. Just grabbing that small area of the 925 and pulling it up. So you can really see the definition in color now. You can see your darker red, your super dark red, your dark red, and then your medium tone red. So if you're getting those definitions popping out, you're doing it right. So good job. Now I'm gonna take my 923 and I'm just gonna hit underneath that belt, that little sliver that's poking out there with my 923. Don't worry if the black spreads a little bit, that's okay. You'll clean that up in the end anyway. And again on the other side, hit that little sliver. And then go up top with your 923 and add that line of 923, doing the small circles and blending it upward. And as you go upward, your pressure should be a little bit lighter. Getting around that edge there. Okay, and you're going to repeat it, of course, on the other side. Just like if you were doing a butterfly. What you do on one side, you should mimic on the other side to make it look even, to give it the same appearance. Unless, of course, you want the wings to be completely different. So I'm just following the same as the previous. And you'll notice I did apply a little bit more of the 923, a wider band of color here. I just think I didn't do enough the first time around. Okay, so it's starting to come together a little bit. So now I'm grabbing 122 and I'm grabbing the edge of 923 and I'm going up. With my 922, leaving that final little area for your 926. Paying attention around the edge here. And repeat that on the other side. Going up, grabbing the edge of 923 and pulling it upward. And I'm still doing the small circles. I'm just going to go over it to really define that line here. And again, if your image looks different than mine, that's all right. I'm using a really heavy paper, so don't get discouraged. Okay, now 926. Doing the same thing, grabbing the edge of 122 and I'm pulling upward to fill in that last little gap at the top with that really pale pinkish red color. And repeat that on the other side. So you should have really gradual color changes. Okay. So there you go. I will, again, have to go back over this probably 2 more times to get the achieved overall look like I did with the elf. But I won't take all the camera time doing that because you don't need to see me repeat it 4 times. But I am going to go down here to this center portion and I'm going to take my 1030 and I'm going to repeat what I did previously, going over that outer edge on both sides with that dark color, giving that nice dark line. Look at the scratches on that paper. Ugh. Those are so hard to cover up. And of course, 925 is your next color. Repeating that. And 924. I'm putting a little more pressure here so You guys can hopefully see it better on camera. You just have to ignore those scratches in the paper. Crazy. Okay, 923. I'm assuming it was Gretel in her little murder mittens. And 122. And 926 right down the center there. You can really see that bright spot in the center now. And again, I'll have to go over that one more time off camera. So with that done, let's jump to your white. Let's do that. I don't want to drag this video out really long. So now that I have my white pencil, I'm actually going to sharpen it really quick because you want a sharper tip, even if it's a short tip with a sharp point. Just a sec. Again, I use extra long tips, so you can make a sharp point even with the short tip, but it works best when you're doing this. So what you're gonna do is you've laid that gray down a little bit. So again, like I showed you before, let me use this black here. You're gonna come in with your white pencil, and hopefully you can see this. You're gonna do like this. Ignore this ugly picture. So you're gonna go lines like this. Just quick, medium pressure lines, and go in different directions, especially around the edge. So it looks like little hairs almost. What that's gonna do is kind of give you a look of fur. So hopefully you can see this. I'm gonna start with the outer edge, and if you can't see it right away over the red, that's okay. Don't freak out, because the more you put down, the more you'll see it. And again, I'm just going over it. Paying attention to where my buckle is. And if you get red in there, it's all right, don't panic. But you certainly can use your gel pen if you don't like this technique. And I'm just gonna do some on the inside. And the reason for the gray is it kind of gives it that shiny effect that fur would have, like if the wind's blowing in it. And I know it's really gonna be hard to see this because I don't have my red filled in. Let me fill in some of this red a little bit really quick so I can show you. I know it's difficult to see on camera and it's frustrating, so let me grab my 923. I'm gonna blaze through this really fast, so bear with me. See if I can make this stand out a little bit more for you on camera. I have to go over what I did. Let's just do this side with the red here. Okay, where's 122? I know I'm speed coloring right now. Sorry about that. Because I really want to show you this white. And 926. But it also gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when you finish blending that final layer. It's not perfect, of course, because I did it really quick. But now you can see on this side versus this side. So you got your heavier pressure here versus your medium pressure. So it's a definite difference. Okay, now let me take this white again, which I know I'm gonna get some red in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw a sharp line down. So you can kind of see that sharp line if I do it this way. You're probably gonna have to zoom in. I know white's difficult to show on camera, but again, I'm just gonna go in an upward motion. And if you have to wipe your pencil off, go for it, because I get red in there. And now you can kind of see the white lines on the outside there a little bit better. You're just doing quick little dashes. Oops, see, I break tips. I told you. I didn't lie. But you're just gonna keep repeating it until you get a nice coat. Oh, see, I'm getting a little crazy now. Anyway, it can be accomplished with your white. You just have to take the time and repeatedly go over and over and over and over it. And you will be able to cover up that pinkish red. But again, if you don't like this technique, you don't have to use it. Just use your gel pen. But I did want to kind of show you that because I know it takes a long time to really get that to pop up on camera. And I don't want to bore you to death with that little aspect of it. So, but you will find that your white will show up over very dark colors a lot better. And of course I got a little bit of red in there because I'm going too fast. Okay, anyway, I'll let you guys work on practicing your techniques for the different directions. So basically what you're doing is you're just going different ways, like windshield wipers, to get those lines to kind of flare out. So I'm gonna take my silver, hopefully this one's still got some juice in it. Yep, it does. And I'm doing a silver belt buckle on Santa. Since I did gold on his elf, I'll give Santa silver. I'm gonna fill in that belt buckle. This pen is just about at its end. But it's a nice, really blingy pen. And I'll show you here in just a second if you're wondering which pen this is. Most of you are familiar. This is the Sparkle Pop pens by Pentel. It's the silver one. These are really sparkly. Okay, so we've done the basics on this wonderful little mushroom guy. Let's do the pants really quick, or some of it. So grab your 1030 and go over that outer edge with your 1030. Don't forget to get up in that little corner there. And don't do real heavy here, but just a little bit on this upper part, because you want to keep that just as a shaded area, not as actual dark red. Okay, going around my boot. I'm going to pull that color up just a little bit. And the same on the other side, underneath that grassy area. I just wanted to do the pants a little bit different just to show you that it doesn't have to always be the same. Okay, now you're 925. Go over that 1030 in small circles and blending it together to really define that color. And again, a medium pressure. I never really use a heavy pressure. You saw what happens when I do it with the white. Snap. I lose a tip. Okay, I'm just gonna blend this upward a little bit. And really light along that edge there, really light. Just kind of giving it a shadow. Okay, now 924, grabbing the edge and blending it out. Don't get all crazy. I know I get impatient sometimes, so I'll mess up my lines. I forget where I've put color down. Going up. Just kind of blending those two colors a little bit. Along that edge. Okay, 923. Remember, leave that gap in the center, that upside down V, I guess. That's what you'd call it. And again, I know it's hard to see this on camera unless I get that final color in there, or that final coating. Just coming along my edge here. And remember, we didn't use 926 in this one. So I'm bringing the 923 along the top and around that upside down V. And I'm just blending it out. Okay, I'm gonna take 122 and I'm gonna do that V, upside down V. I'll do it a little heavier here so you can see where I made that V. Let me get this on here and I'll move my fat little fingers out of your way. I don't know why my fingers always look so fat on camera. It's kind of comical. Maybe because I got little hands. Look at that little tiny hands. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Make a bold line here for you. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I can attempt to blend this out later. All right, so can you see that V where I did that with the 122? Since we're not using the 926. But again, like I said, there was a reason for that, why I put that V in the center, not the 926. Because you're going to take your black and not quite from, I'm going to say it, the crotch. But just above that, you can draw a little line. Now it kind of looks like he has a fly. A zipper. And a little button at the top. See? So there, oops, I bumped you. So there was a reason behind why I did that. Because I want you to be able to get that line in there with a little snap button at the top of your jeans. Who knows if Santa has a zipper and a button, but he does on my mushroom. Because it's my mushroom. I can have what I want. So I forgot to pull the colors for the flesh here. So I apologize for that. But what you can use is the same colors as we did for the elf mushroom, if you like, is that sandbar brown. And then instead of that green, use like a French gray, a light French gray, maybe a 10 or 20% with that sandbar. But you can technically color that dark red if you want to, or even jet black. It's up to you how you want to depict that undercolor. I will polish up my mushroom tonight. Don't be afraid to send them to me. If you don't like the white pencil technique, do white gel pen. I will stick with the pencil because I know I can make it work. I wish it showed up better on camera than it does. It just kind of looks like a blurry mess, but it's not. Anyways, there's 2 more mushrooms in this series, and one is a more natural looking earth tone, and I will be doing that one in the near future. My next video, hopefully, will be to show you guys this wonderful book I received over here that's in this fancy wrapping paper. And then I'm going to do some more of these fabulous color blends. Since somebody asked me to do some pinks, that's what we're going to do. I had some other colors thrown at me, but I've had pink more than once. So we're going to do some pink blends. So I'm going to show you how to blend out your pink pencils with different colors. Because believe it or not, pink goes with everything. I know that sounds crazy, but it does. How do you make pink? Pink is made with red and white. White goes with everything. So you can blend out those pinks to almost any color in your 150 color set of Prismacolors. So I will be wrapping this up and we will work on that. Finish those mushrooms and send me some pictures. I would love to see them. And as always, happy creating, you guys, and thanks for joining me.